Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to the Ashden Awards 2021. It's an absolute pleasure to have you all with us here at COP26, arguably the most important meeting in our lifetimes. And the climate crisis is often upsetting and overwhelming, and I guess all of us feel that more intensely every day. Within that context, at Ashden, we focus on the solutions that we need to tackle the crisis. The brilliant, pioneering innovators who are taking action now and whose stories we can tell to inspire others with their vision of how we can have a fairer world and a zero-carbon world. The solutions we know are out there, driven by these innovative and committed people who we're going to celebrate this evening, who are addressing both inequality and the climate crisis. We just have to get behind them. And the awards are at the heart of everything we do at Ashden. But we also do much more than that. We work with our winners to create networks. We enable them to share their stories with others. We want other people to steal with pride their brilliant ideas so that we can really scale up climate action, both here in the UK and across the global south. For example, for many years, we gave awards to schools for their climate initiatives. And we were just so blown away by the brilliance, the determination, the passion of young people to take on the climate challenge, that out of that work has sprung the wildly ambitious Let's Go Zero campaign, which we launched last year with our coalition partners, including Carbon Trust and WWF and so many more, so that all our schools here in the UK can reach zero carbon by 2030. The campaign has just captured the imagination of schools up and down the country. We've got over 700 schools signed up to the campaign, willing to play their part in bringing nature into the playground, encouraging people to walk or cycle to school, reducing meat in the school meals, for example, playing their part, while also calling on the government to give them the policies and the finances that they need to reach zero carbon by 2030. And it's an absolutely cracking campaign, winning support from local authorities through to the largest teaching union, and exciting so much interest overseas as well. So we hope that we can take the campaign globally too. And I'm delighted that just 2 weeks ago, joining this partnership were IKEA UK and Ireland, who said they wanted to come back behind this campaign. Now, I don't know if many of you have been into IKEA stores and played with those lovely wooden abacuses that they have. And just like those abacuses, we believe that this campaign just adds up, because we're taking climate action from schools into communities and into all our homes. I'm so excited that this evening we've been joined by Emilio Savadra, who's a pupil from a very special school in Liverpool. It's a specialist school for people with hearing and seeing impairments, and he's come here to join us today. Hello, Emilio.
Hello.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling really
Yeah,
good.
woo! Give it up for Emilio. Fantastic. So, your campaign has been, your school, St Vincent's in Liverpool, has been such a leader in putting sustainability through everything you do. What have you done to care for nature?
We've been growing fruit and veg and wildflower seeds.
Amazing. What's your favourite fruit and veg that you've been growing?
I like all of them.
Oh, that's fantastic. And what do you want to do when you grow up, Emilio?
I want to be a green travel agent and help children around the world who are visually impaired.
Oh, how amazing is that? A green travel agent in the making. So, Amelia, today you've travelled up from Liverpool. You've come here to Glasgow where world leaders are meeting. Why have you come?
To give out wildflower seeds of hope.
Have you got something you want to show? What have you got?
The seeds of hope.
Amazing. Where did those seeds come from, Amelia?
From St. Vincent's School for the Blind.
You grew them, did you?
Yeah.
Amazing. And who do you want to give them to? Any ideas?
The President.
The President? Well, by luck, we have a President here, everybody. I give you Your Excellency, the President of Costa Rica.
How are you? Is that for me?
Yes.
Thank you, and congrats on the work you're doing.
Thank you.
Keep up the great work.
Thank you very much.
And keep dreaming and keep moving on. Change is on your hands. You're brilliant.
Thank you.
Give it up for Emilio and the Seeds of Hope from St. Vincent's School. Incredible. And I know with leadership from young people like Emilio, that can give us all hope that there is a better future out there and that it can be different, and that together with leaders like you, Emilio, and leaders like the President, we can transform our world. And that starts with the school curriculum. It starts with what children learn at school. And it goes all the way through to whether we're training people in the green skills and the skills of the future, through to retraining people. And in the end, all our jobs will have to go green. So that around Glasgow and right across the UK, some of you might have seen some of these stunning photographs, posters, were created by a famous photographer, Ian Rankin. And in a collaboration of Ashden with Futera and others, you'll see these amazing photographs of everyday climate heroes, because there is a climate hero in all of us. And so you'll see photos of children from St. Vincent's, through to photos of a worker from Kenza Heat Pumps in Cornwall. And woo! And amazingly, she is a grandmother, and certainly, as we'll see in a minute when the photos move on, she is certainly just the kind of hip and trendy granny that I would love to be. And we need people with the specialist skills to fit heat pumps and to retrofit our homes. And we also need technicians trained to take solar energy into African villages which are still without power. And by 2030, we do need all jobs and livelihoods to be green jobs. Actually, it's a bit of a health warning. Now, I can get really very boring on this subject of the gap that we face. So just to give two quick examples, there are in the UK 96,000 people trained to install gas boilers and fossil fuel systems. Guess how many people there are who are trained to install heat pumps? The answer is just 1,000. That is the scale of the gap we face, and it's the same issue across many of the developing countries. For example, Germany has twice as many people trained to install renewable energy as there are across the whole of sub-Saharan Africa. And so that's why at Ashden we're focusing on green skills, jobs and livelihoods, helping to create the decent jobs of the future, jobs that are zero carbon, not 0 hours. And today, in putting that strategy into practice, I'm absolutely delighted to announce a new partnership with who better than LinkedIn to increase that focus on skills and better work. And I'm joined now by Jess White from LinkedIn's social impact team. And so Jess, how is LinkedIn focusing on green skills?
Yeah, lovely to be here, Harriet. Thanks for inviting me along. So LinkedIn is committed to becoming carbon negative by 2030, and by 2050 we're hoping to have removed all our historic carbon as well. So this is something that's really important to us as an organisation, but also we're the world's largest social media platform for professionals. We've got nearly 800 million members globally. So there's so much more that we can do. We know who's hiring, the jobs they're hiring for, the skills for those jobs, so we can help to connect job seekers to green roles, but we can also provide the data behind that to help governments and organisations to really make some smart, targeted decisions around how that they green their workforces for the future as well.
And are you seeing increasing interest in green jobs?
You bet, 100%. So we're seeing a huge increase in demand for green skills roles, not just because organisations are looking at their policies and changing those to become greener in future, so having to take on specific green jobs, but we're also seeing the greening of every job. So across the board, there's incredible demand for green skills.
And tell us about the partnership with Ashden.
Super excited to announce it tonight. So yeah, thrilled about the partnership. Because of the demand, it's massively weighing the supply of green skills. So organisations like Ashden are totally on our radar, and we're thrilled to be able to support you. You do an incredible job advocating for green skills investments, and you also identify incredible organisations like some of the ones we're going to be hearing about in a minute, who are already doing this work to help upskill people across the world in green skills. So really excited to be here tonight. Thanks for inviting us.
Thank you very much, Jess and LinkedIn. And as Jess said, before we get overexcited about next year's awards, today we're here to celebrate the most amazing group of winners of the Ashden 2021 Awards. So it's time to put you all out of your misery, find out who's won the awards, kick back, relax, get out the virtual popcorn and enjoy this treat.
Natural disasters linked to climate change are already happening across the globe, and we're starting to see the impacts of it locally with flash flooding and extreme temperatures.
It is hotter than ever, with those who are most vulnerable being the most affected.
My dream was to engage those in our communities to bring back what has been destroyed by others.
My name is Nauras and I am a Syrian refugee. Climate change had a big impact on our community. We could say it was identified as one of the causes that led to the civil war. Thousands of people were displaced by the effects of climate change. Due to the lack of rain and the lack of harvest, they had to move to other cities like Damascus or Aleppo. When they moved there, they find it difficult to work or they find it difficult to find a good life.
As a newcomer arriving in a new city and needing to learn everything from scratch is a great opportunity to establish positive behavior. Climate change project at the Welcoming help our community of refugees and migrants to learn action they can take to tackle climate change, while also improve the English skills, improve the employability prospect, and connect with the local community.
memory is very important. I remember watching my grandparents and my parents growing their own food. When I think back to my life in Syria, I think of the whole family, from children to grandparents, all gathered in the sun, sharing their breakfast, having the traditional food.
Being realistic, the impact that a small-scale project like ours have will never be enough to tackle worthwhile climate change project. However, if policymakers can learn from the experience of small-scale project to implement big-scale policies, we can achieve big changes.
I'm actually very proud of what we have done, because I remember the time we came here and the land was just grass and weeds, and we start build the raised bed and building the social area here. It's just an amazing feeling when you're looking at the allotment right now. Provide families. We've got a polytunnel. We built a polytunnel. We give seeds and plant to families and to help them. Yeah, again, I'm very proud of what we have done here. The welcoming, growing site in Edinburgh gives people a connection to their history. It brings me home.
I try to imagine if every family had a girl in education, how different our families would be, how different our communities would be. It has nothing to do with background. With family, it is about opportunity. One person got it, one person didn't. I grew up in a big Ugandan family of 9. I was quite fortunate as my dad was quite open. He didn't give priority to boys. In terms of women's inequality, when it comes to specific countries and communities, it affects them differently. But it is a problem that we all share globally. My name is Penny Mbabas Atweire. My work at New Energy Nexus helps local women and youth groups to distribute clean energy products. Everyone has that untapped potential, and I can see that through the New Energy Nexus business skills training. There is a huge potential for driving the spread of renewable energy and the benefits it brings to everyone.
New Energy Nexus Uganda, through its Venture program, empowers community-based organizations to launch clean energy enterprises in the last mile, or off-grid Uganda, as we call it. What the program provides is a business toolkit that comprises of financing, capacity building, and technology. And through these key inputs, a community-based organization in a far-off village is able to launch a sustainable energy enterprise.
We embed ourselves in rural communities and work with women who are normally cut off from finance and support. We are able to work through hundreds of these existing community groups, enabling them to distribute renewable energy products and making money for their families. Women bear the primary responsibility of taking care of the household, making sure there is food and that their kids go to school. They get a double challenge of everything, including climate change. Women are the primary users of the clean energy technologies that we sell. Yet, they may not have the finances or resources to access them. Human equality and the protection of our planet are intertwined, and you cannot unentangle one without the other. When women get opportunities as men do, they can be agents of change. I have seen it in my life.
Heat in India is a given, but now with climate change, it is hotter than ever. with those who are most vulnerable being the most affected. Their quality of life is being impacted, health is being impacted, and their economic productivity is also being impacted. My name is Bijal Brahmbhatt, and I am the Director of Mahila Housing Trust. An organization in India that empowers women to tackle heat stress. These women spend more time at home. They are the most at risk from this problem. Their houses are essentially dark, without any ventilation, no access to water and sanitation, and prone to waterlogging. Now, this is the life of a poor woman in slum. They use their house as their workplace, their go-down, their storehouse, and so cooling is essential to enable them to earn a living. Through our work, 125,000 men and women in 27,000 households across India are trained in climate stress and climate resilient solutions. They have been adopting these new technologies, where we have seen significant results across thousands of homes with temperatures reducing by 2 to 6 degrees. We work with women-led community action groups across 1,066 slum settlements in India to test sustainable cooling technologies and introduce cooling systems like cool roofs and shading devices. This is the path forward. There is an intergenerational aspect too. Women are caregivers. If they will be empowered, so will their children be empowered. If we bring change, it will transcend beyond them.
My name's Anika Kelly, and when I was young, my dad used to call us citizens of the planet. I remember one time we were driving through Spain, and it was the year there was that huge oil spill. My dad went out of his way to show it to us. It was really quite tough seeing all of the oil and all the animals trapped, and it really had a big impact. As I got older, it really struck me that climate change has been born from our very exploitative relationship with other people in the environment. So if we're going to solve climate change, we have to stop the exploitation to be able to move forward. So I used to do quite a lot of direct action, just remembering all the foolish ones. Why did I do that? The best was when we occupied a gas power station to stop the dash for gas. We camped out on top of a chimney for a week. There's definitely a place for all of that, but I've really enjoyed working at Carbon COP because it's given me a way to create practical change. We've started a programme to train contractors in how to retrofit homes.
We've lived in the house for about 20 years and it's always been cold and drafty because it's a Victorian house. Difficult to heat, so it coincides now that we're starting to work with the wider picture of climate change and awareness of energy consumption and the need for everyone to be doing what's necessary to reduce consumption.
By 2050, we know that we have to upgrade all of the homes in the UK to make them far more energy efficient. A fifth of the UK's carbon emissions comes from the domestic residential sector, so that's our homes and where we live. What we really need is for all homes to be fitted with energy efficient tech, so that's insulation, air tightness measures, solar panels, heat pumps, things like that to reduce carbon. We know how to do this, we just need the workforce to make it happen. There are loads of great builders out there, it's just about showing we have the work to do in this area and it's worth getting involved. If we can match the householders, so it's the supply people who want home improvements done with the skilled builders to do the job and with good finance in place, we can see the implementation of green tech happening at the scale that we need it.
My respect for the planet all started at home with my mother. She would remind us how those who lived before us left the plants and fruits that we ate. She showed us that the birds are important and the trees are important too. Next to our home, we had a forest where we would gather firewood. We would go there, and there were lots of birds, monkeys, and other animals. We would take time to sing with the birds. They would respond. As children, that was a very beautiful feeling. Then, the forest was cut. Why did you cut our friends? It was the saddest moment. The villagers tried to oppose the cutting, but there was a rich man who had bought it and was much more powerful. So, this story has been played out many times in Uganda. We don't have enough food to eat. We don't have income. Women and the young people are the most affected. They don't have access to capital. Can we motivate them, train them to create a new lifestyle for themselves? My name is Noah Sempija. I founded YICE. We focus on encouraging people, mainly women, young people, and refugees, to move away from destructive farming methods to more organic and sustainable practices. Through our training, people move towards food security and earning an income from small patches of land while protecting our soil and the birds and nature around us. We understand that sometimes farmers lack the knowledge and skills about climate change, and so they are not able to prepare for it, they are not able to do the right things. So we have taken it up to us that in all the trainings that we carry out, we try to make sure that we talk about climate change, how they can manage it, how they can control it. Because we have seen that our farmers have been affected by climate change, we have introduced a mobile drip irrigation kit, which helps to, irrigate farmers' crops during the dry seasons, and they're able to plant their vegetables throughout the season. It's time to face up to it. The way we have been farming and treating our land is destroying our soils and our communities. When we share traditional farming tips amongst communities, biodiversity is up, people's production is up, and children have access to nutritious food. We have got to learn to live with each other. As my mother would say, let's think about those that come after and those that have come before us. If we don't leave it for them to enjoy, there is no meaning of life. How will they survive?
ಜೀವನ ಎಂದರೆ ಏನು? ನಾನು ಮಹಿಳೆಯರ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಬದಲಾವಣೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡಲು ಬಯಸುತ್ತೇನೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ಎದುರಿಸಿದ ಸವಾಲುಗಳನ್ನು ಇತರರು ಎದುರಿಸಬಾರದು ಎಂದು ಬಯಸುತ್ತೇನೆ. ನಾನು ಬಡ ಕುಟುಂಬದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳೆದವಳು. ನನಗೆ ಚಿಕ್ಕ ವಯಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ಮದುವೆಯಾಯಿತು ಮತ್ತು ಕುಟುಂಬದವರೊಂದಿಗೆ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಇತ್ತು. ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಕೆಟ್ಟದಾಯಿತು. ಬದುಕಲೇಬೇಕು ಎಂದು ನನಗೆ ಅನಿಸಿತು. ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ಇದ್ದುದು ಎರಡೇ ದಾರಿ, ಒಂದು ಜೀವನವನ್ನು ನಡೆಸುವಂಥದ್ದು ಅಥವಾ ಆತ್ಮಹತ್ಯೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂಥದ್ದು. ನಾನು ರೇವತಿ ಪೆರಡೂರ್ ಮತ್ತು ಭಾರತೀಯ ವಿಕಾಸ್ ಟ್ರಸ್ಟ್ ತರಬೇತಿಯು ನನ್ನ ಜೀವನವನ್ನು ಉಳಿಸಿದೆ.
Since from the 40 years, Bharatiya Vikas Trust is working with creating entrepreneurs in the rural area. That is how Bharatiya Vikas started working with bankers and also creating entrepreneurs on two things, entrepreneurship and also equally using for an energy that we can able to implement the policies at the groundroot level.
ಮತ್ತು BVTಯ ಮೂಲಕ ನಾನು ವ್ಯವಹಾರದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೊಸ ಶುದ್ಧ ಇಂಧನ ತಂತ್ರಜ್ಞಾನಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕಲಿಯಲು ಸಾಧ್ಯವಾಯಿತು. ನಾವು ವಿದ್ಯುತ್, ಇದ್ದಿಲು ಮತ್ತು ಇತರ ವಸ್ತುಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಅವಲಂಬಿತರಾಗಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಮತ್ತು ಈ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗೆ ಸೌರಶಕ್ತಿಯೇ ಅತ್ಯುತ್ತಮ ಉತ್ತರ. ನಾನು ನನ್ನ ಗ್ರಾಹಕರಿಗೆ ಇಂಗಾಲವನ್ನು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡಲು ಮತ್ತು ಅವಲಂಬನೆಯನ್ನು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡಲು ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಲೈಟಿಂಗನ್ನು ಬಯಸುವಂತೆ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೇನೆ. ಮಹಿಳೆಯರು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಹಣಕಾಸಿನ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಯನ್ನು ಎದುರಿಸುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಇದು ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಭಾಗದ ಮಹಿಳೆಯರ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ. ಯಾವಾಗ ಅವರು ಹಣಕಾಸು ಶಕ್ತಿಯ ಮೇಲೆ ಅವಲಂಬಿತರಾಗಿರುತ್ತಾರೆಯೋ ಅವರು ತಮ್ಮ ಮೌಲ್ಯಗಳನ್ನು ಕಳೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತಾರೆ. ನಾವು ಸ್ವಾವಲಂಬಿಗಳಾಗಿರಬೇಕು.
Financing for the development of the renewable energy or the green energy is very, very essential because the policy matters happens in the center when we wanted to implement at the rural area, considering the two important things. One is the climate effect, second one improvement in the life of the rural people. So still when we wanted to work with the rural activities for creating a livelihood through solar energy, it requires support.
BVT ಹೊಸ ಪೀಳಿಗೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಸಹ ತರಬೇತಿಯನ್ನು ನೀಡುತ್ತಿದೆ. ನನಗೆ ಸಂಭವಿಸಿದ ಸಂಗತಿಗಳು ನನ್ನ ಕುಟುಂಬದಲ್ಲಿ ಮರುಕಳಿಸಬಾರದೆಂದು ನಾನು ನಿರ್ಧಾರ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡೆ ಮತ್ತು ನನ್ನ ಮಗಳು ಕೂಡ ತರಬೇತಿಯನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾಳೆ ಮತ್ತು ಆಕೆಯೂ ಕೂಡ ಉದ್ಯಮಿಯಾಗಿದ್ದಾಳೆ. ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದ ವಿಷಯವೆಂದರೆ ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರವಾಗಿರುವುದು ಮತ್ತು ಇದೇ ವಿಧಾನವು ನನ್ನಂತಹ ಸಾವಿರಾರು ಸಮರ್ಥನೀಯ ವ್ಯವಹಾರಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡಿದೆ.
Mon premier contact avec la nature commence à partir de mon jeune âge. Né dans le village Tulo Tengadale Sankuru, fils de chef coutumier, mes oncles qui faisaient de la chasse et moi je les accompagnais dans la forêt pour chasser. Et on chassait avec mes oncles, on chassait uniquement pour avoir la viande et manger. Et quand j'ai grandi, je devais faire la médecine, mais Dieu m'a orienté les choses autrement, je suis allé en biologie. J'ai commencé à vivre ce que j'ai vécu dans la forêt, les arbres, les animaux, à telle enseigne que j'ai compris à partir des cours de l'université que la nature, avec toute sa beauté, elle est vraiment un élément à protéger plutôt qu'à détruire. Je m'appelle Valentin Omasombo. Je travaille au sein de l'ONG Mbou où j'occupe la fonction de responsable de la conservation de la foresterie communautaire. La conservation, comme elle était pratiquée dans les parcs nationaux, était difficile à mettre en œuvre parce que les communautés étaient un peu élevées, mis en écart. Et lorsqu'on a commencé à travailler avec les communautés, l'idée était de protéger les bonobos parce que la nature doit être protégée au bénéfice des communautés locales. Ainsi, on développe là l'écotourisme et les activités de développement, les alternatives sont en train d'être réalisées. La construction des ponts de la rivière Mbali, beaucoup de projets sur les jardins familiaux, sur l'élevage, sur l'apiculture et différentes autres cultures. Nous avons constaté qu'avec tous ces projets, les femmes qui jouent un grand rôle dans le domaine de la conservation sont de moins en moins impliquées. Et il faut aussi des activités qui impliquent les femmes. Ce n'est pas facile, mais on est arrivé à avoir au minimum 30% des femmes qui sont dans les différents comités et les différents organes de gouvernance et de gestion de ces concessions forestières des communautés locales. Si vous excluez les communautés locales de la protection, de la conservation, là, je ne pense pas que la conservation pourra réussir.
My name's Mbou and I support local authorities up and down the country to decarbonise their heating systems. I grew up in central London in a block, traditional social housing block. What I really wanted to do is actually improve those social housing blocks, and for the last 10 or 15 years I've been working actually on those particular type of blocks I used to live in as a child to improve both the carbon emissions attributed to those blocks and also the fuel poverty element that is ever present within social housing. Kenza, who I work for, manufacture and install ground source heat pumps. This is a great solution to tackling carbon emissions attributed to heat. They are cheaper to run with no emissions from burning fossil fuels, making it better for air quality and all round a better option. It's a revolutionary technology, as historically heat pumps have only been implemented in individual homes. Now we can do this for a whole tower block, making a significant impact to fuel poverty, air quality and carbon emissions all at the same time. This technology can transform social housing, lowering fuel bills for people who are living in low incomes and protecting the future of our planet at the same time. For every hour of sunshine that hits the earth, we get more energy than everyone consumes in a whole year. Surely that is the solution. If the UK government said we will fund the installation of pipes into the ground, creating a network of pipes, and if they applied the same model that we use currently to install gas boilers, and we applied that model to heat pumps, all of us could have the choice of switching to low carbon heating.
It's been really good because it's consistent all the way through the bungalow. My husband's diabetic, so he doesn't need the heat, especially for his feet and his hands and things. And of course the dog's in his element.
You often have heat pumps that are manufactured many miles away in Cornwall, impacting the local economy there. We then take those heat pumps to a local area. We employ local labour and we train them up to be able to install those heat pumps. So that supports that local economy and the workforce to upskill. We then install those heat pumps in residents' homes. Those residents then have a reduction in their heating bills, which means they have more cash to spend in the local economy, which creates better economic improvement within that region. So there is a holistic solution. It can impact manufacturing, it can impact supply chain, and it can impact the lives of residents who are more vulnerable. Natural disasters linked to climate change are already happening across the globe, and we're starting to see the impacts of it locally with flash flooding and extreme temperatures. I don't want my children to grow up living in fear of whether or not their food supply is going to be affected. We can do something about this now, and we have a real once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to limit that global warming potential.
My grandmother will look up at the sky and she'll say, "It is going to rain," or "The sun will come tomorrow." She was able to predict the weather to help with her farming. My name is Dismas, and I grew up in rural Kenya with my grandmother, who is a smallholder farmer growing fresh produce. She's still working the land, but it is no longer possible to predict when the rain will come or go. Growing seasons are erratic, and produce goes to waste because it cannot be stored. Whole communities are being destroyed because the climate is changing. I knew I had to do something, but not in my wildest dream will I have ever imagined doing what I'm doing now. I started Solar Freeze to help small-scale farmers like my grandmother to store produce and increase income for their land. So I came up with a system where people can buy cooling units run by energy from the sun This helps even the poorest people access cooling technology. We work with young people from agricultural families as well as in refugee backgrounds, especially women, to install, operate, and maintain these cooling units. Our main focus is to create a pool of competent technicians who can work on our solar technology. We can then use them across the green economy. Technical training for local women is really important, as they are often left out because it's a man's job. Most of the community is conservative, and so for them, it's odd to see a woman on a roof. It has been easy to get people involved, as there is a lot of curiosity about this new technology. By chance, I met a refugee from Kakuma refugee camp, the oldest refugee camp in East Africa, where 90% are long-term residents, and a new generation of young people are growing up. Most of the shops had no access to energy or electricity, and those that did were reliant on diesel generators. When we brought the solar freeze chest freezers to the refugee camp, we assumed it will be used for storing fresh produce. But once on the ground, we will see the technology was being used for medical storage, for vaccines when COVID hit, and for breastfeeding mothers to store their milk.
Because I used to pump the milk in a glass, keep it in the fridge, and someone can give the child later while I'm at work. So it gives me that free mind to work freely without thinking the child is at home, the child will be crying. So I'm comfortable whenever at work. And it really empowers me a lot, and I wish I can empower other women.
What gives me confidence is that these solutions to fight climate change like solar freeze are out there. They exist and are proven, and given the right backing, we can have significant impact.
He's the solar guy. Sometime when he comes, the children say the solar guy has come.
This is the right time to implement the central policies at the ground level. Can be done only when we started working for the rural people.
Our work brings women together so that they can get information and lead the response to climate change from the communities. This means demanding change from the politicians.
By working together, we can achieve better results. We are stronger. So we need government and corporation to support us and to give us the infrastructure necessary for this kind of initiative to flourish.
It's all about scaling. This will be our legacy.
Amazing are all those winners. Actually, they're film stars as well as being climate stars and climate heroes. So huge congratulations to all of you. Very sadly, due to COVID restrictions, not every winner could join us here tonight. But hopefully they're watching in Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, and we send you too our special congratulations. And we're now in a moment very honoured to welcome another star, another climate hero, our special guest this evening, the President of the Republic of Costa Rica, His Excellency Carlos Alvarado Quesada. And Costa Rica has long been recognised as an amazing leader when it comes to climate, with the most recent accolade coming from the Earthshot Prize for the incredible work they've done with communities to reverse deforestation. But maybe some of you have also seen, those of you who are real COP watchers, will have seen how Costa Rica has also been putting their vision into practice here during these talks, using their influence to help encourage more and more countries to go beyond fossil fuels, beyond oil and gas, and to commit to a just and fair transition. And leading his country in that green charge has been His Excellency. Do please join me on the stage now. And I'm now, in a moment, we're going to hear from His Excellency, and perhaps he's going to tell us something of what he's been up to in the past few busy days here at COP. But first, I'm absolutely delighted that he's going to give the trophy to each of the winners. So I hope you will really give a huge round of applause for these incredible entrepreneurs and community initiatives who are showing the way. And first up is the award for humanitarian energy, supported by the Alan and Babette Sainsbury's Family Charitable Trust, the Limbury Trust, the Headley Trust, and a public appeal. And the winner of that prize is the solar man himself, Solar Freeze! Woo! And the next award is for Natural Climate Solutions, supported by the UK Government, Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy. Very sadly, they couldn't join us, but on the other hand, very luckily for us, the prize today is being collected by the Deputy Prime Minister, who has special responsibility also for the environment, the Deputy Prime Minister of the DRC, Yves Babaiza Massoudi. For Mbou Montour. Congratulations to Mbou Montour. And the award for Energy Access Innovation, also supported very generously by the UK Government for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy, goes to New Energy Nexus Uganda. And the award for cooling in informal settlements, supported by the Clean Cooling Collaborative and the Climate Works Foundation, goes to Mahila Housing Trust. The award for energy access skills, supported by the Ashden Trust, goes to Bharatiya Vikas Trust. Congratulations. The award for climate innovation, supported by Impact's Acid Management, goes to Kenza Group. And true to their name, they're coming up in a group. The award for green skills, supported by the Garfield Western Foundation, goes to Carbon Co-op. award for Green Communities, supported by the Esme Fairbairn Foundation, goes to The Welcoming. And so, Your Excellency, we're looking forward to hearing what you have to share with us this evening.
Good evening, and thank you very much. I'm really and truly honored to have the opportunity to address you all in this marvelous occasion and being so inspired by the work of this wonderful initiative, these wonderful projects. And so please, once again, let's give a big round of applause to these brilliant projects and entrepreneurs around the world. I also want to thank the Ashden Foundation, all its team, and the jury, that they did a great job in providing visibility to the world to these great initiatives. So today I want to start by saying there are two things in common between two places, very special places in different parts of the world. One is in Spain and the other one in Indonesia. And these two special places are some caves that exist. And coincidentally, 40,000 years ago, approximately, roughly at the same time, in Spain and Indonesia, in those caves, the first signs of human art appeared. And when you see those pieces of art on the caves, you will see printed hands on the walls of the caves from 40,000 years ago, both in places so distant in Spain and Indonesia. For me, what's striking about that is looking at the resemblance of those hands printed on walls from 40,000 years ago to our own hands. How similar they are. Can you imagine how many generations of men, women, children have passed since that? The history, the culture, the lives of people, and what we call the progress of humankind. But also is it striking to think about that from all the generations there have ever been, it's up to this generation to preserve the legacy of all humankind. And it's in our hands. That is why it's so inspiring to see what the award winners of tonight are doing, not only with their hands, but with their minds, their heart, their souls, and their effort. Recently, you know, I have been participating on the dialogues and on the high-level panels on this COP in Glasgow. Today, I diverted that to attend my old alma mater in Sussex Uni, in the Institute of Development Studies in Brighton. And I had this wow moment, because I was with fellow professors and with students. And we were talking about the COP, and they were asking me about the outcomes. And one thing was really striking. The words that we use here in Glasgow were usually associated with 1.5. We use a lot the word billions. We use a lot the word trust. We use a lot the word diplomacy. And when I was at Brighton, the words they were using to give a framework to Glasgow and to this COP were justice. The word justice. So many of the things that I've seen like good advancements at this COP to stop deforestation, to stop methane emissions, to protect both forests and oceans, as Costa Rica is pushing to happen, and we see it as good things with good intention, require one additional key element. We cannot agree on global multilateral solutions if we don't have local appropriate implementation. And I think that's a key insight and a wow moment, and I think it links so marvelously with what we have seen tonight with the winners of the Ashden. Sometimes when world leaders gather and make decisions, there is this temptation to advance with solutions that are one size fits all. And experience tells us that those kinds of solutions tend not to help people, but tend to create new problems. I love what I've seen in these awards because I've seen also concepts and actions towards empowering people, empowering women, caring about food security, caring about training and providing local jobs, caring either by cooling homes or by providing heat. That means giving solutions to where the heart of the people is. And the heart of the people is within a community. The heart of the people is not as abstract as a global meeting. The real center of the world is wherever your heart and your household and your family is. The heart of the world is not where global leaders meet. So this is a great insight that we must share still in the days that are pending in Glasgow. And it's a great message that Ashden can provide and Ashden Award winners can provide. We need global solutions in terms of commitments, finance, targets. Because it's true we need to keep the 1.5 target. That is true. But in order to get that, implementation has to be done locally, respecting women, respecting indigenous communities, working together with them, even with empowering, so solutions come from people and not the other way around. If we get to share that kind of message, I think we will add even more hope to the world, added to what we have seen in these 9 marvelous winners. I have to say I feel very humbled being part of this, because it's also a gift to receive from you so many ideas, the drive, the willingness to go further. Sometimes we think in today's world that problem solving is going from A to B in a straight line. We need to cut emissions. We need to reforest. We need to protect oceans. And we tend to think to go from A to B in a straight line. But the complexity of what we've seen tonight, going from topics of gender, topics involving refugees in different parts of the world and their necessities, employment, climate change, I mean, it's spectacular. is breathtaking. So once again, I want to thank Ashden for this opportunity, encourage everybody to spread the word of what we have seen here tonight, and once again, compliment the winners with a big round of applause. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, Your Excellency, that was just amazing. You really captured the absolute essence of these extraordinary 9 winners, and I should say all those who applied for the Ashden Awards. Because, of course, we also met many other incredible organisations, and actually when the winners met together for the first time just a few days ago, it was really, they all focused on that combination of justice with systemic thinking. Starting by thinking about the most vulnerable people and really listening to them and making sure that we take their needs and voices into the bigger changes we need to achieve. So all I'd like to say now, before you can all go and enjoy your wine and canapé, is to thank in particular all our funders and supporters. Ashden couldn't do the awards without you. To thank those brilliant winners and runners-up and finalists who are showing that that brighter future is possible, and to all of you for supporting us. And if you've been inspired, and if you want to take some of these initiatives to the next stage, I really hope that you will join with us, that you will perhaps talk to your local school about Let's Go Zero and join Emilio and the incredible work that he's doing. Perhaps you'd like to get involved in our awards for next year in 2022. Or come to us with your big idea, because we believe that partnership is at the heart of climate action that will enable us to go much further and faster. So thank you again to everybody who's made this evening possible, who's made the winners' journeys possible. And before we all head off for a drink, I'm afraid I'd like to steal just a few more minutes of your time, Your Excellency, to have some slightly longer photos, because I know the winners and Emilio would love to have another photo with you back on stage. But thank you very much, everybody.